As Yusuf, A.S., sat in the damp silence of the well, miles away from his grieving father, the sound of rhythmic bells broke the desert stillness. A merchant caravan traveling toward the heart of Egypt had stopped nearby to seek water. One of the travelers lowered his leather bucket into the darkness, but instead of the weight of water, he felt a strange pull. As he hoisted the bucket back to the light, he gasped in astonishment. "Good news!" he shouted to his companions. "Here is a boy!" The merchants, blinded by greed, saw him not as a human soul in need of rescue, but as a valuable prize to be sold for a high profit. The journey from the rugged dunes of Canaan to the lush green valley of the Nile was long and arduous. Yusuf, A.S., a child of prophecy, walked in chains like a common captive. Yet even in his silence and exhaustion, his inner light was unmistakable. The merchants noticed that the air around him seemed filled with a strange peace. They arrived at the bustling marketplaces of Memphis, the capital of ancient Egypt, a city of towering obelisks and marble temples, where the fate of thousands was decided on the auction block. In the crowded slave market of Egypt, Yusuf, A.S., stood on a wooden platform. Men of wealth and power gathered, mesmerized by his unparalleled beauty and dignified aura. The bidding began, and the price rose higher than it ever had for any servant.
Behold this
Finally,
treasure!
a powerful man named
My servants
known
bring
as the
chests of
Aziz,
gold.
the Grand Vizier and
They are
treasurer
for
of
you.
Egypt, stepped forward. Struck by something divine in Yusuf's face, he outbid everyone. He brought Yusuf to his magnificent palace and told his wife Zulekha, "Treat him with honor. He may be of use to us, or we may adopt him as a son." Within the limestone walls and painted halls of the Aziz's palace, Yusuf, A.S., grew into a young man. Allah had granted him hukm, judgment, and ilm, knowledge, making him wise beyond his years. He managed the affairs of the household with such honesty and brilliance that the Aziz entrusted him with everything he owned. Yusuf's physical beauty was now legendary, said to be half of all the beauty ever created. But it was his character, his unwavering devotion to Allah, that shone the brightest. However, this very beauty was about to become the center of a storm as the years passed. Zulekha, the wife of the Aziz, found herself consumed by an overwhelming obsession. What began as admiration for her servant turned into a dark,
Yusuf, please,
desperate
I cannot
desire.
bear this.
She lived in a palace of gold, but her
But
heart
my
was
heart,
a prisoner
it burns
of her own
for
longing.
you.
She watched Yusuf from behind silk curtains, tormented by his refusal to look at her with anything but respect. Driven to the edge by the whispers of the soul, she decided to orchestrate a trap from which she believed there would be no escape. One afternoon, Zulekha summoned Yusuf to the innermost sanctuary of the palace. As he entered, the sound of heavy timber and sliding bolts echoed through the hallways. One by one, she locked 7 ornate, massive doors, sealing them off from the rest of the world. In the suffocating silence of the final room, she stood before him, draped in luxury, and uttered the fateful invitation. "Hai Talaka, come to me." The air was thick with temptation, and for a human heart, the pressure was immense. Yusuf, A.S., though a young man in the prime of his life, did not falter. He stood grounded like a mountain against a gale. "Ma'ad Allah, Allah
Yusuf,
forbid,"
look at all
he
this
cried out.
beauty.
He reminded
This
her of
is
the
not
kindness
for
of
me,
her husband
Zulekha.
and, more
But it could
importantly,
be stay.
the watchful eye of his creator. In a moment of supreme spiritual strength, he turned his back on the sin and ran. As he reached each of the 7 doors, the locks shattered and the doors swung open by a divine command. He was a man fleeing toward his Lord, escaping the golden cage of immorality. As Yusuf, A.S., reached the final exit, Zulekha caught him from behind, her fingers digging into his tunic. In the struggle, the fabric of his shirt gave way, ripping vertically down his back. Just as the last door flew open, They were both frozen in shock. Standing there was the Aziz himself. Zulekha, quick to hide her guilt, immediately pointed at Yusuf and screamed, "What is the punishment for him who intended evil against your wife, except that he be imprisoned or painfully punished?" Yusuf, A.S., stood his ground, stating calmly, "It was she who sought to seduce me." In the tension of the moment, a wise member of Zulekha's household spoke up. "Look at his shirt," the witness said. "If it is torn from the front, she speaks the truth. But if it is torn from the back, then he is truthful and she is the liar." The Aziz looked and saw the rip. It was clearly in the back. Turning to his wife with disappointment and shame, he said, "This is of your womanly guile. Truly, your guile is great. Yusuf, pass over this. And you, woman, ask forgiveness for your sin."
Yusuf, destiny's path is before you. Embrace it. The weight of our legacy rests on your shoulders.